Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into this little video that we made. We're just going to be talking about the research that we did over the summer with veterans in the Billings community. Through this study, we held like a sleep course that we're going to talk about a little bit more in the next slides. And we just addressed veteran mental health and their sleep just by directly addressing their sleep. And we saw a lot of promising results.
So, for the intervention itself, it was a 5-week sleep program, which consisted of both group sessions and then individual one-on-one sessions that were led by licensed and certified occupational therapists. So, for the group session, I thought I would kind of give an overview of what each week looked like and some of the topics we covered during those weeks. So first we have orientation. And that was initially, we talked about the group expectations. We went over some initial paperwork that the participants had to fill out, and then we also answered some questions that they had. Next, during week 1, we talked about sleep science. So some of the topics included light and circadian rhythm and how that can really impact your sleep. We also talked about the neurotransmitter adenosine and how that can fluctuate throughout the day and how it relates to sleep. And then lastly, we talked about the various different stages of sleep. During week 2, we discussed relaxation and mindfulness. So this included techniques like brain dumping, which is essentially just writing out your thoughts on a piece of paper. We talked about various different breathing exercises, so box breathing, things like that. And then lastly, we discussed progressive muscle relaxation. During week 3, we talked about sleep beliefs, and this was a really fun session because we did a Jeopardy game with the participants, and we kind of went over some common myths and disbeliefs about sleep. Week 4, we discussed sleep hygiene, so that relates to your habits and routines that relate to sleep. So we talked about what an ideal bedroom environment looks like, so having it cool, dark, and quiet. We also talked about setting a consistent sleep schedule, so waking up at the same time every day and going to bed at the same time every day. And then we also talked about navigating sharing the bed with partners and pets. Lastly, during week 5, we talked about nutrition and substances. So we discussed certain foods that can promote sleep, as well as food and drinks that can impact your sleep. So things like coffee and black tea. We also talked about exercising and the timing of exercise throughout the day, and then also how alcohol and other substances can impact your sleep.
All right, now we'll get into what I think is the most exciting part, which is our results, because we got lots of exciting results from this. So the how we measured the results from our study is we used a lot of assessments that measured mental health, also occupational performance, which is just your performance and things that you either like to do or have to do throughout your day. And then we also measured mental health. And so one of the assessments that we used to measure mental health is the patient health questionnaire, or the PHQ-9. So this measures depressive symptoms, and the higher your score, the higher your depressive symptoms. So it was great to see in our little chart here, you can see that most of our participants actually all of our participants had a decrease in their PHQ-9 scores. So as a result of sleeping better from our course, they experienced less depressive symptoms.
We then used the Generalized Anxiety Disorder 7, or the GAD-7, to measure anxiety symptoms, and the higher the score indicates more severe anxiety. And you can see from the pre-test to the post-test that all our participants decreased. So after our intervention, it helped decrease their anxiety symptoms.
We used the Canadian Occupational Performance Measure in order to measure perceived occupational performance and perceived satisfaction with that occupational performance. And as you can see in these two graphs, both of those things significantly improved for almost all of our participants, which means they just were able to do more of the things that they want to do and need to do. Then to measure sleep quality, we use the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index. So a higher score on this measure indicates worse sleep quality, and a lower score indicates better sleep quality. And so as you can see, all of our scores significantly decreased for our participants. And I also wanted to point out that a score above a 5 indicates a clinical level of sleep disturbance. So just about all of our participants had that score above a 5 to start the intervention. And then by the end of it, the majority of participants had a score below a 5. So that was really cool to see.
Lastly, we used the patient-reported outcome measurement information system specifically for sleep disturbance, and this measures the level of sleep disturbances that they experience throughout the night. And you can see from the pre-test to the post-test that all of our participants had an overall decrease in the amount of sleep disturbances they experienced throughout the night, which was really encouraging.
So now we'll talk about what all those results mean. So it was really encouraging to see that we had such good results from this study. So that told us that sleep should continue to be addressed in community-based settings with veterans. And research does take a while to get adapted. So tomorrow we're probably not going to wake up and there's going to be all sorts of community-based sleep clinics. However, we are hoping to publish this study. And so hopefully it's just important to add to that research supporting that veterans need more options for sleep care, and occupational therapists can be the people that provide that sleep care for veterans, and it also improves their mental health. So we're hoping that this research will go out there and then more programs like this will be implemented within the community.
We wanted to thank all our participants who gave us really positive feedback on the course. I wanted to highlight two in particular. The first one was a husband and wife couple that participated, and they said the classes really helped the communication in my marriage. We both aren't on our phones as much and spend more time in the evening together and know it helps both of our sleep. So it was really impactful to see that not only their sleep get better, but just their overall marriage really strengthened throughout the course. And then the other one I wanted to highlight was now every new good night of sleep. I'm starting to feel more refreshed, and I have realized it's something I've missed for a long time. And that was really cool to see the participants. You could kind of start them to see them feeling more refreshed and just overall better throughout the weeks.
We want to share these results in as many ways and to as many people as possible. So in order to do this, we plan to present our results at Rocky Mountain College's Research Symposium the next couple weeks. And then after that, we hope to present our findings at the American Occupational Therapy Association National Conference this spring. We also plan to publish these results this research in the Occupational Therapy and Mental Health Journal and just continue to share this information with local veterans in as many different ways as possible.
We wanted to thank several veterans organizations that really helped us with the research process. The first one was the Adaptive Performance Center, and then Dog Tag Buddies, the Concerned Veterans for America here in Montana, Veterans Navigation Network, and lastly, the Montana Veteran Affairs Division.
We also wanted to thank our research advisor, Dr. Amanda Carroll. She was pivotal in helping us with this research project. And if you do have any questions, feel free to shoot her an email at amanda.carroll@rocky.edu. And then lastly, we just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to all of the veterans who participated in this research project. It was amazing to see you all improve your sleep quality as well as decrease your mental health symptoms. And so from the bottom of our hearts, we are just so grateful for all of you. And thank you so much.